students, now we'll discuss the concepts of chemical effects of electric current. Right. So we start with the first poor conductors and good conductors of electricity. Most of the metals or solids are good conductors of electricity. What are good conductors? Good conductors are which allow electricity to pass through it. And what are poor conductors? Which will not allow electricity to pass through it. Right. So basically, you will also know in this chapter that there are many experiments. One is a magnetic needle experiment. So whenever there is a current which passes and the needle deflects, which means it is because of the electric current. Or if the bulb glows, then also we will be able to tell or say that there is an electric current, because of which these two things are happening. I'll come on these concepts in the next slide. So herein, rubber, glass, wood are poor conductors of electricity. Metals like aluminium foil, copper wires are good conductors of electricity. Now we come to liquids. This was all about solids, but about liquids, does a salt, if we just take salt, will it conduct electricity? Is it a poor conductor or a good conductor? Yes. No. It is a poor conductor, which means electricity will not pass through it if it's just a salt. But if it's a salt solution which is aqueous, salt dissolved in water, aqueous solution is which is dissolved in water. So any solution which is the acid, acid, base or a salt in water will be a good conductor of electricity. So this is what it mentions. Aqueous solution dissolved in water are solutions of liquid in water. It can be a salt solution in water, NaCl in water mixed together, HCl, hydrochloric acid, which is an acid in water, lemon water. So it's just not the lemon, but lemon water. Sodium hydroxide, which is the base, sodium hydroxide, vinegar, again an acid. All these are solutions of acid, bases and salts in water. Right? So they will conduct electricity. So basically what we are learning in this is that solids and liquids will conduct electricity. We can, whenever there is a glow of bulb or there is a deflection in the magnetic needle, these two experiments tell that the electricity is being passed. So these experiments will do next. But herein basically solids as well as liquids will conduct electricity. Now we'll discuss about the further concepts about distilled water or a pure water and vegetable oil. So these are poor conductors of electricity, right? I hope you're enjoying. Okay, see, distilled water is not able to dissociate, which means it is not able to break. Now let's understand atom. Atom is the basic element, and if you divide atom, it has got protons, neutrons and electrons. Electrons are the particles inside the atom which moves, right? Now in what happens in distilled water or pure water or even in vegetable oil, they are not able to dissociate or break the atom into ions. So atom which has got ions, which is positive and negative charges. So if you are not able to break the atom into positive and negative ions, which means there will be no free movement of ions. When there is no free movement of ions, which means they are poor conductors of electricity, right? So distilled water or pure water or even vegetable oils are poor conductors of electricity because atom contains positive and negative ions. Say example, H2O has two atoms of hydrogen and two atoms of oxygen, positive and negative. So these are ions. Positive and negative elements inside the atom are ions. So they do not dissociate or do not break, which means when this happens, there will be no passage of electricity. Electricity will not pass, and it will be a poor conductor. Further, H2O plus impurity. See, now in your chapter there is concept about rainwater or tap water. They are not basically like distilled water. They are not pure. So they are filled with impurities of salts. Impure water has got dissolved salts. So basically they are good conductors of electricity. As we know, aqueous solution, which is acid, base or salt, will always be a good conductor of electricity. So this is what it mentions here. Water plus impurities, tap water or rainwater Basically, they are impure forms of water, contains dissolved salts, aqueous solution. So good conductors of electricity, right? So this is what is about water. So distilled water, poor conductor. Uh, Tap water, rainwater, good conductors of electricity, right? Now we move further. Now there is a concept of electrolytes. Electrolytes are conducting solution that conduct electricity. They dissociate, break into ions. Basically, anything which is a conducting solution or which allows the electricity to pass through it uh, will be able to dissociate or break into ions. So this is what it says. Electrolytes are conducting solution that conduct electricity. They dissociate or break into ions. I think I already told you this thing in tap water and rainwater. Right, now move further. Effects of electric current. There are three effects of electric current. I think most of the students know this. Heating effect. So whenever there is a passage of electricity, then the filament will glow or the bulb will glow. It's got a heating effect. Second effect is magnetic effect. Whenever there is, if you place a needle inside a matchbox which is connected to a battery with a positive and negative terminal, so there will be a deflection in the or a movement in the needle. So whenever there is a passage of electric current, if the circuit is closed, we need to understand that a circuit should be closed. There should be no break in the wire. I'll give you a diagram next in the next concept. So basically, the effect is magnetic. The needle will move, or it will, as the word says, deflect. So it's got a deflect. It's got a it moves. So it will deflect. It's got a magnetic effect. And third is the chemical effect. Chemical effect, basically, I'll tell you, there will be formation of gas. The second concept is electroplating, which I'll tell you, and the third is the solution of the solution color will change. So in the chemical effect, we'll discuss these three things. But basically, there are three effects of electric current: heating effect, magnetic effect, and chemical effect. Thank you. Now, students, we move further. So let's see. So what if bulb glows dim, needle deflects, or say electrolyte? What is an electrolyte? Which is a conducting solution. Do not have bulb glow, but needle deflects. This means a weak current. We use LED light emitting diodes for this. See, now there are two things. One is a magnetic needle. So whenever there is an electric current passing, there will always be a deflection in the needle. That is one thing. But what happens to the filament of the bulb? Do we use a bulb in a weak current? When there is a weak current, the bulb will not glow, so we will not use a bulb. We will use a light emitting diode, which is an LED. You see the LED lights, which is a white color light, which is basically doesn't heat up. It's very cold source, right? It doesn't have a filament, so that's a light emitting diode, right? So we use, to detect a weak current, we use a light emitting diode. So that is what it mentions here, that there can be a possibility when there is a weak current, and we actually want to know whether there is a passage of electricity in the solution or not. So we will use a LED, a light emitting diode. A bulb will not be useful because we see that the needle is still deflecting, which means there is still a current which is passing. But we need to know whether it is a good conductor or whether it's a poor conductor, right? So we'll always see a light emitting diode, LED will glow. If the LED glows, it shows that there is a current which is passing, and that current may be weak, but yes, we need to be sure that current is still passing. So that is why LED is being used. Now we move further. LED has anode, which is positive connected to positive of the battery, and it has a cathode, which is a negative connected to negative of battery. See, I've shown you a diagram here. This is a battery. It's a closed circuit, a cathode and an anode in a solution. This is a sugar solution. So basically, there is no disconnect in the wire. It is connected, and if it is a conducting solution, then there will be some chemical effects and there will be some changes. And but if there is no change, right? If there is no change, then there may still be a current which is passing, and that may be a weak current. So basically, this is what it says, because see, these are electrodes. What are electrodes? They are electrodes connected to the battery as source of current. The positive electrode is connected to the positive of the battery, and the Negative of the electrode is connected to the negative of the battery. Negative terminal of the electrode is called a cathode, and the positive terminal of the I would say a positive terminal is called anode. So basically these are electrodes are sources of current, right? So this is what I have explained in the 10th point. Anode is a positive longer lead. Basically anode will always be a longer lead, and cathode will be a shorter lead, right? So this is how we differentiate when we connect the positive terminal of the battery will be a anode. It will be a longer lead, and a shorter lead will be cathode, will be connected to the battery, which is a negative point of the battery. So this is how the diagram is there. So basically what we infer from this, we infer that if it's a non-electrolyte, what is a non-electrolyte? Which will not allow the current to pass through that efficiently. So if we would have a bulb here, the bulb will glow dim. The bulb will glow dim, or it will not glow. Suppose the bulb doesn't glow, can we infer that this solution conducts electricity or not? May or may not, because the sugar solution will not conduct electricity because it's a non-electrolyte. It is not able to break into ions, but still there might be a current which is still there, which might be a weak current. That is why we use two things: a needle, which is a magnetic needle, because it will deflect if there is a passage of current, and second, the LED, which is used, not the bulb, because it will still glow, and if it glows, LED glows, it shows there is a weak current or a strong current, but even on a weak current LED will glow. So this is why two things which are important is which is a needle, a magnetic needle which will still deflect, and also an LED which will still glow, which means there might be a weak current as well. So if a non-electrolyte may have a weak current, it might not be conducting, it might still have a weak current. So which we can establish from these two things, needle and a LED which glows. Students, now we go further with some diagrams and some more concepts. So here I try to make it explanatory. These are diagrams, and let you know what exactly. Electrodes, anode plus cathode should be connected to battery. So basically when you connect to the battery, it should be closed circuit. See, here I have shown you a closed circuit. These are the ends of the battery, and the bulb glows. So basically, if there is any kind of a circuit which is open, the current will not pass. See, this is an open circuit, does not glow. So this is one of the important things, closed circuit. Then the magnetic needle deflects. So basically, whenever electric current passes through a solution, the needle deflects, which means it will change its position like this. So basically electric current passes. If it doesn't deflect, then there is no electricity which is being passed. So also there might be a weak current for which we use an LED or an electrolytic cell, which is basically anode and cathode together, connected to the positive of the battery, which is anode, and cathode, which is connected to the negative of the battery. So basically this is a conducting solution. I will tell you why I made this in the next slide. Basically about electroplating we'll discuss. This is an electrolytic cell, basically LED which is being used to detect the weak current. So things which are important here, a needle which deflects, which shows electricity passes, and the bulb glows in a closed circuit and not in an open circuit, and this is the LED which will detect the weak current as well, right? So here I show an example to you for a tap water and distilled water. Distilled water, as we know, is a poor conductor of electricity, does not glow. See, the bulb doesn't glow. Tap water, it's an aqueous solution. Why? Because it has got impurities of salts and water together, and whenever there are impurities of salts, then it's always a good conductor. So tap water is a good conductor. Distilled water is not is pure water actually. It is not a good conductor because it doesn't have any salts in it. Again, the circuit, though it is closed in both the cases, but because it's got impurities, it's a good conductor. It doesn't have impurities. It's not an aqueous solution of a salt, and therefore it's a poor conductor. So this is basically a needle. We always know that when a needle deflects, then there is a passage of electric current. Another, if there is no movement of needle, then then there is no electricity which is passing. So you see here, it's a lemon water solution. It's an acidic solution. Water and lemon water, lemon and water. So positive with positive, negative with negative of the battery, a closed circuit. Now see, I've taken three things here. Empty matchbox. In the the tray of the empty matchbox, you will put the wire. It can be a connecting wire, copper wire, which is wrapped in the matchbox. There is a needle, and so wrap electric wire on the matchbox. Empty matchbox, keep the needle inside, and electrolyte solution, which is a conducting solution. Here we have taken lemon water. So whenever there is a needle deflection, it's an apparatus to show that whenever the needle deflects, there is a passage of electric current, and if it doesn't, then there is no passage of electric current. And this already explained when you use an LED, when there is a weak current. So basically, we sometimes need to know a conducting solution does have a weak current or a strong current. So we using an LED or an electrolytic cell. Basically, electrolytic cell is like this: a battery connected to the terminals, making a closed circuit, and so basically the circuit should be closed. If there is any break over here, then it becomes an open circuit. So even if the solution is conducting, and it will not electricity will not pass. So the LED may not glow. Definitely it will not glow because there is a open circuit. So these diagrams are all about that. So I proceed further now. Now I will discuss the chemical effects of electric current. There are basically three chemical effects of electric current: formation of gas bubbles, electroplating, and change of color solution. So these are the three chemical effects of electric current. Now I move further. We will discuss this over here in the diagram, how this effect takes place. Now the question is, when fire due to electricity happens, we do not pour water. Why? See, when there is a fire due to electricity or a short circuit, as we say, then usually what happens is the water which is available is a tap water, and tap water is an impure form of water. It's got salts, it's aqueous, so it is a conducting solution, right? A conducting solution. So we should never pour tap water. It mentions same thing over here. When fire due to electricity, do not pour water, as tap water is aqueous. It's actually a salt solution. It has got dissolved salts, and the risk of catching the current is very high. Similarly, when electric pole is to be fixed in rain, so basically when there is a heavy downpour, a heavy rainfall, should the electrical person fix the electric pole? No, he should not. He should always switch off the main supply, because again rainwater becomes a electrolyte, a conducting solution, because of the salts and acids which are there in the rainwater. So it becomes impure form of water, or a solution which is aqueous, which may be acid, base, or salt, is a good conductor of electricity. Okay. Now we discuss one of the chemical effects of electric current: electroplating. Electroplating is basically when we pass electric current, there is a deposit of one metal on the another metal. So this is called electroplating. When there is a deposit of one metal over the other, it is called electroplating. Now we'll see this with a diagram. First, why electroplating is done? It is to prevent corrosion or rusting. Rusting is when there is an oxygen, when there is any metal, say your bicycle, which is made up of steel, iron. If it is kept in the open in the rain, then it will have H2O, water, due to moisture, and oxygen. So when these two combine, it will create rusting. So rusting is H2O plus O2 on the metal. So to prevent rusting or corrosion, it is called, we do electroplating. Example, the bridges, they are being electroplated by zinc. So zinc is on iron. Chromium is actually an expensive metal. So basically, why it is electroplated? Because there are many things which have to appear shiny. So chromium has a shining effect. So wheel rims of the bicycle or the water taps. I'm sorry, water taps. So basically, they will use chromium as the electroplating for electroplating. And then gold and silver ornaments. Basically, not the silver ornaments. They are basically gold and silver are plated on some non-expensive items so that they appear shiny. So basically, they are ornaments. It can be some electroplating done on brass so that it appears shiny. So all these things can be done. Now we come to an important topic when we discuss about the solutions. So solutions are basically of two kinds, conducting and non-conducting. So conducting solution, as I told you, is an aqueous solution. It has to be acid, base or salt. So basically I take an example, suppose AB is an aqueous solution. So whenever we are able to break AB, which is an atom, into ions, which is A plus and B minus. So like if we take an example of HCl in water, which is an aqueous solution of acid in water, H plus and Cl minus. So whenever it is able to dissociate or break into ions, when it breaks into ions, then it is able to move. Whenever the ions are able to move, or whenever the atom is able to break due to the passage of electric current, it will always conduct electricity. So basically this is what it shows. It has to be an aqueous solution, a conducting solution. As an aqueous solution, it is able to break or into ions. So this is what it shows here, like HCl, H plus and Cl minus. So if you take HCl, you can break it to so I can write here as HCl breaks into H plus and Cl minus. Okay. And the other thing is non-conducting. You can take salt, just a salt solution with no water, distilled water or pure water or vegetable oil. These are basically they do not break into ions. They do not dissociate. They do not break into ions. So no, like you just take only water. So no ions formed. So basically there will be no movement of electrons and no ions formed. So it will be non-conducting. So these are two types of solutions which decide whether the electricity will pass or not. And last but not the least, as I discussed you about the electroplating part. So this is how electroplating happens. Basically, these two diagrams show electroplating. So whenever there is the thing which has to be electroplated will be on the anode, will be on the negative side. So there is an iron spoon, and you see a deposit. Whenever there is this is a solution, copper sulfate solution. So herein we take a copper plate and we take iron spoon. So iron spoon will get deposits of copper. So basically an electroplating example. How the this is a closed circuit battery. The positive end of the battery connected to the copper plate, positive, and the negative connected to the iron spoon, which is the cathode anode. So this is how electroplating happens. There is a deposit of copper which we will see, and this is an example of electroplating. Herein I give you another example of a copper sulfate solution, CuSO4 solution. Here there is an impure copper, and which is connected to the positive anode, and the negative of the battery connected to the cathode. So this cathode is a pure copper. So what happens? Initially they have the same color, but when electricity, when there is a passage of electric current, after a while we see that the color of copper changes. So this is also one of the effects, chemical effects, change of color solution. Electroplating I discussed here. Change of color solution. So what happens? The pure copper changes its color after a while. So there will be change of color. It will turn reddish, and before that, before the passage of current was the same color. And this shows there is a change in color of copper as well. So this is the pure copper which changes its color, and this is the impure copper. Right? Earlier they had the same color, and also. When this thing happens, there is also formation of gas bubbles. So how do I show this? This is also one of. So basically, see, this is dipped in the solution, and in the solution you will see some gas bubbles form on the anode and cathode both. So this is these three things happens: electrolysis, electroplating. So copper plate, basically copper getting deposited on the iron. So this is electroplating, and second, this is a change of color solution, and this is also some formation of gas bubbles, which always happens when there is a whenever the electric current is passed. So these are the three effects of electric current. So that was all here on the concepts which I told you. I hope this chapter you found interesting and you like this. And now you can also click on the link. I'm sending you 30 questions with the answers, and I hope you will like those questions. Will be all based on the concepts. As I told you at the beginning, students, it is all about concepts and questions. So these questions you can revise. You can just click on the link. There is a descriptive link. You just click. We'll have 30 questions. So this way I will keep on covering different topics. I will come with another chapter next time in my next video. We'll have important concepts, and similarly there will be a link for the questions. If you have any comments or any questions, you can put in the comment box. And I hope you like the session today. If you like this video, do give a like, share, and subscribe to my channel Score More to score more. And do not forget to click the bell icon for further notification of my upcoming videos. Till then, happy Dashera, and you have a great day.